Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 89 today for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Season 5. If you guys didn't miss the previous one, the Chinese Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. We enter this episode then with a little unfortunate news that we had two upgrades coming in. One of them has unfortunately failed. Both were minor upgrades, so really, I mean, there's not one or two I would have preferred really in terms of the actual specifics of the detail of the upgrade, but one of them's failed, so we only have one minor engine power upgrade coming in for this race weekend. That's still better than nothing because, you know, obviously both of them could have failed really, so at least we have one small little movement there, and so that means obviously we're going to have to redo that part and guarantee that part coming in next time out probably, but we've got that major on the way for next episode, but it would have been nice to have both those minors because of course Baku, the long main straight, that's going to be a big key, but I will be running very low wings here. I think I did this last season. I basically ran my Italian GP setup at Baku, and that seems to work really well with a few little tweaks here on the suspension just to make sure we can ride the curbs a little bit better, but it's going to be a tough one because on paper, I mean, you can see the Gulf is just growing really because you've got teams like Haas making massive moves up the table with, I assume that's like at least one major upgrade and one ultimate, I would say, the leap they've made. So you've got all these AI teams making a lot of progress quite quickly that I didn't expect, so it has shocked me actually, to be honest, how quickly they made progress, and that's kind of made me realize that this may take a little bit longer than I thought it would to actually get the car on paper at least up to, you know, where everyone is basically in that massive jumble up at the top in the kind of top 6, 7 there. So we'll see about it, but of course I'm confident that, you know, the setup changes can help us out in this Grand Prix. They did so at China, so let's go to Saturday then, see how we do over one lap, and see for the first time, can we get our Q1 perhaps here at Azerbaijan.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway. The competition is certainly heating up as we head into today's qualifying. Some impressive times showing up during the previous practice sessions. Anthony Davidson, do you think we can expect a similar level of skill to be showcased during today's qualifier?
Well, I certainly hope so. The competition here is extremely tight, and I think we might see some very close times today. Remember, practice isn't just about fastest lap times though, it's about optimization, it's about ratifying your decisions. No one's going to be sweating small mistakes here and there, but in qualifying that all changes. You need to nail that perfect lap or face the consequences, and believe me, that's a lot of pressure.
Right, so you join us flying down the back straight, or the main straight, however you want to kind of call it, basically in Q1, our first flying lap then here at Baku, and across the line P12 at the moment. I assume though that we'll go down the order as usual, and that first flyer is never the best one, so we go again, and we're actually down to P20, so that was a pretty horrendous first lap. To be fair, I will admit I was quite lacking a little bit of confidence under braking, I would say, on that first lap. You can see straight away in these two corners you saw, turn 1, this next left-hander at the end of sector 1, straight away gaining about 2-3 tenths there, just under braking and using the curb a little bit more aggressively on that right-hander. That was, gained us another little tenth there, and then some more in the last sector as we come through across the line. At the moment, Russell is P18, we got up to P8, and that will see us through into Q2, because by the end of it, we're down to P14, but that's enough for us, 2 places ahead of the cut-off window there. You can see George Russell, though, very unfortunate, you know, only a couple of tenths away from us, and he's out in Q1. So, yeah, as ever, the grid is so close. It is fine margins there, but absolutely amazing. We feel like, for the first time, making some sort of progress. I mean, I don't know how the race will go. It's going to be tough. I think in a straight line, our car is pretty okay, but under heavy fuel, will my compromise setup with lower wings hurt us in the race? I'm not too sure, but it's great to feel like we're making progress there by, for the first time, getting through into the second part of qualifying, which is still a mad statement to get excited about, being in a Ferrari car, but that's where we are in Season 5. But we move through then into the second part of qualifying, and you'll see here we're slowing down actually at the very start of our lap there to let Hamilton through, because I believe he's also on a flyer, and I wanted to basically try and play a little game here of trying to get him to give me a slipstream tow, because of course I don't have my teammate to do that. There's not many other cars around here, so he was the only car I could kind of work with here. So we might get a little long-range tow here as we go into turn 1. That might just help us gain a tiny bit before we start braking to turn 1, and also a little tow on that next straight when we have a second bite of the cherry of DRS. But through into sector 3, the end end of that flying lap, I thought I'd be a little bit closer to Hamilton than I am at the moment. Of course, he is in the better car, so obviously he was going to pull away from us a little bit in the corners, but I was very surprised at how quickly he pulled away just through that left and right, very subtle curves onto the sling, onto the main straight there. So I'm probably hardly getting much of a tow, to be honest here. So I try my best to play some sort of game across the line then, my one and only lap, because I only had one fresh set of soft tyres to use, and we go across and we're in P13. So in the end of it, only gained one position then from where we qualified in Q2. So George Russell doesn't have really much to worry about. He's only 3 places back from us there. Obviously the car, that's pretty much where the bottleneck was, basically. That's where our car is in terms of one lap pace. But as has been the case in the first 3 episodes, the race pace seems better, and of course, because the field is so close, if we can make sure we get moves done quickly, get into clean air, we can gain on AI anyway in the race, because they hold each other up basically. So it's been a case of definitely Sunday something to look forward to, and Saturday we shouldn't be beating ourselves up too much depending on how far we are back from the kind of top guys where we want to be eventually, obviously, in this Ferrari. So let's go to Sunday, let's see what we can do in the race, and let's hope the heavy fuel doesn't hinder us too much with the lower wings.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today, so our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully away from the barriers. Baku City Circuit then, an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Why don't we talk about Ferrari? We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside is Lucas Faber. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Gasly, Hülkenberg, Max Verstappen and Perez, Leclerc, Bottas, Vettel and Lando Norris, Fiat, Ricciardo, the engineer and Butler, Grosjean, Russell, Kimi Raikkonen and Lance Stroll, Magnussen, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out, just moments.
So in terms of the race strategy, then of course it's going to be a one-stop, as has been the case really now for the last season or two, with the tyre wear level upgrades for every car really. But it's a case of what tyres you'll be going on and how they get affected at the end of those stints. So we're going to start on mediums like we did at the Chinese Grand Prix, go on to hard tyres, and hopefully the guys ahead of us who are on softs, when their softs start to go off, hopefully they go off quite hard. I do remember when I used to start on soft tyres, obviously just last season, they did go off pretty quickly at the very end. So I'm hoping we can kind of gain on that. And like I said, it's all about getting some clean air also, and hopefully not getting caught up too much infighting basically in the midfield. But here we go then to 5 red lights. So round number 4 of season 5. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix is underway very quickly indeed. So let's go out straight away without a flash, and we're down on the inside there after having a bit of an issue on the rear end with a wobble, but in the end actually helps me out defend the position from Romain Grosjean there on the left hand side. Ahead of me Ricciardo, who's way down the order there. So I actually didn't notice that Ricciardo's knocked out in Q2 then. So that's actually quite a blunder by the Australian in what was a top car, because Hamilton was on pole there. So now we just have to sit back and watch this. At the moment it's a little bit further back from Ricciardo than I wanted to be, as I got brake checked into him basically, and actually was quite lucky I didn't break a bit of my front wing on the nose cone in that sector 1. So we move through now into sector 3, still looking at the back of Ricciardo. Ahead of him you've got a McLaren and a Toro Rosso there trying to fight each other as well, as we go through the left-hander, trying to not graze the bump too much there to skip the car. Ricciardo a little bit slow, off that exit. So we have a little look on the outside there. He's quite defensive, and he's got his rear tyre on the curb there. That's really unsettled him, and so we're practically almost nearly going to start pushing him through the corner. I literally am pushing him through this corner now, as we literally make a little bit of contact at the apex. We go down the inside, close stuff there between the Aussie man and the wall to our right-hand side, but we get the move done up into P12. Don't know if Ricciardo has some sort of issue there, but you can see they're weaving about a little bit to try and get some heat in the tyres as well. Little cheeky easily enough into turn 1, and we get the move done on the exit. Ricciardo's still fighting away with a Haas car, actually, so for Ricciardo's sake, I hope he has some sort of issue there. But now it's for us to try and chase after these 3 cars. You can see the Toro Rosso, Alfa Romeo, and McLaren there. The Toro Rosso and Alfa, the 2 were side by side ahead of Lando Norris, so that's going to slow them all down. And look how much we've already gained there, as Kvyat is going to be squeezed out nearly by Norris, and yes, he will be squeezed out because Norris goes round the outside. Great move there by our fellow Brit, and so Kvyat, instead of gaining 1 position, has lost 1 to the McLaren there, and is now susceptible to us as we move through to the end of lap number 2, as we're now setting ourselves up for a pretty easy overtake, hopefully, here through the motorway section. I always liken it to here at Baku, although a little bit hairy on that right-hander, is for some reason the car just started to understeer very much so mid-corner, so a little graze on the wall, little love tap, just to kind of leave my mark on the circuit, as I'm sure Claire will ask me in the interviews after post-race there. But we get the move done on the Alpha, and so now we can chase off to perhaps if the Toro Rosso and McLaren want to keep fighting, but those 2 again and gain some more positions. We're P11 now, so only 1 place off the points-paying positions, though a little bit awkward in that left-hander. You saw the rear end stepped out there, and so that's compromised my exit. Kvyat gets a good run. Of course, he's got DRS now in that second zone here in Sector 1, so he's back past us, unfortunately. We're going to try and go the long way around. Doesn't work. Maybe do the switch back on the left-hand side. Kvyat squeezes us and kind of parks the car quite nicely, to be fair to him, so defends the position very well indeed, but frustrating as hell for me because I just look left and right, can't make a move there, don't have quite the power of the acceleration or the downforce to keep it through, so we're back down to P12 then, and in the end Bottas has been overtaken by Norris, so the McLaren charging through as usual, as we've seen so far quite a few times this season. But now we're stuck again behind the Alpha then through this entire Sector 2, of course, Castle section, very hard to make a pass. We come through there, lovely as ever as it does look on this game, so we swing through the left-hander now. Can we perhaps make a dive through that very tricky left-hander coming up the end of these kinks perhaps? And it looks like Fiat actually might make a move himself as he goes for it there on Bottas. Bottas very slow for some reasons. We have to slow ourselves down very much, so I think Bottas must have some damage. I think he's going way too slow not to, so we make a massive dive and lunge around the outside of not only 1 but 2 cars. They got on the curb. Bottas squeezing us. We squeeze him back to the left-hand side. They're going to have to lift off to give him some space. He's still there, and oh, Bottas grazes the wall, and there's been a crash behind us, and it's yellow flags as Bottas has caused the safety car. A very early safety car in this race on lap number 3, and we're actually going to make a late call and dive into the pit lane to pit on to the set of hard tyres we had planned to go on all the time, because I thought, split second, you know what, if we pit onto hard, I know how long the hard tyres go on this game. I mean, we hardly had any tyre wear at China. I know that it's the same way here at Baku. If we come in now under the safety car, get a free pit stop, we could gain a whole load of positions and time here by not having to make another pit stop ever in this Grand Prix, basically. So I know it's a bit of a gamble. It's a massive gamble because we're only on lap 3. You know, we're so early on in this GP, and I'm going to attempt to go the rest of this Grand Prix without a pit stop, just on hard tyres. It is a gamble, but it's what I wanted to take because I could already tell I was going to get so frustrated for this entire Grand Prix of constantly being held up by cars that I can't quite overtake. We're going to lose time by doing that. This way, once everyone pits and makes their first pit stop, I'm just going to have a load of free air to try and just push as hard as I can, do qualifying laps essentially on the hard tyres, and see where we come out. So it is a gamble, but let's all keep the fingers crossed that it kind of pays out. Well, I guess we'll see in the coming few laps then. We'll obviously lose 2 laps of this Grand Prix under the safety car, so we've got 21 laps then to go on hard tyres at the end of this GP. It sounds like a lot. It really is. It will be a lot by the end of this, but it's a gamble worth taking, I think. So here we are now on the restart, watching out for when we can go green there. A little bit awkward with Stroll and how everyone lined up there, but I get a good enough run as we go across the line. Stroll squeezes quite hard actually on the left-hand side. We go down the inside of him and our teammate George Russell, and a third car of Magnussen there. Very surprising dive bomb for us into turn 1. Not too sure what was going on there. Kind of a bit of a domino effect of everyone going too slow up ahead there. So just thought, yeah, may as well just send it there and just keep on going and let the car roll through. And lo and behold, we got 3 positions there. So a good start to that restart then of the green flag racing. So we're up into P15 on lap number 6 though. Up ahead, we've got a bit of a bottle jam. Again, it's another slow car with, I'm pretty sure, damage of Romain Grosjean there, because you can see there's a gap on the minimap between Grosjean and the next car ahead, and the kind of a train going on ahead of him. So I'm pretty sure he's got damage himself. So can we try and get past all these guys? This is a pretty crucial part of the race, really, because once I get past these guys, there's a nice pocket of clean air there. So we're going to make the move on Giovinazzi, then get a tow off Butler, and in doing so, make a double pass on him and Grosjean there. Cut across to the racing line into turn 1. Little lock up just to make sure we get the thing slowed down in time. And we're up into now, lo and behold, look at the top left, P6, because at the same time I'm making that move, everyone pretty much came in for their first pit stop of the race there. We've still got a few others ahead of us, Raikkonen and a few others I can't quite tell at the moment. Looks like they started on the mediums like I did basically, so they've got to go a little bit longer in this Grand Prix, but they too will also be coming in. But oh lord, oh god, a second safety car has just been called out here. Well, the patch has certainly changed things and changed the fortunes of this game for sure there. You can tell 2 safety cars in one race. That is unheard of on F1 2019, really, pre-patch. But this is why then it was Butler with the front left tyre sheared off then in that fight still with Grosjean and Giovinazzi. And you can see a whole load of people have to kind of ghost and go through there. And my teammate Russell has actually got a finesse there because he got stopped and got overtaken by 3 cars for free there. So that second safety car is going to be out. I'm not too sure if that's going to be a good thing or not for us, because of course I've already made my gains here by getting that 1 free pit stop. I'm not obviously going to pit again under this safety car. The people ahead of me, will they be pitting? That's the question on lap number 7. I don't think they will, because they're all on mediums, so they might not here. So let's watch out. A few people maybe in the pits. Yeah, 1 or 2 people. Norris, Hulkenberg in the pit lane. We're up into P4 then, but Raikkonen, Fiat, I believe, the other Alfa Romeo, and Hamilton are not coming in. So we're up into P4 then. I'm pretty sure all 3 of these guys up ahead of us have to pit still, though. So I think we're looking very, very good to be in a prime place, to be in so much clean air, have track position, and then we try and do the best job we can at defending the position. So let's see. Let's see how this progresses as we go on towards the restart then. And of course now you've got to remember that these guys up ahead, they are going to be on worn medium tyres, so I also might have a chance to actually overtake them on track here. So you can see on the restart we get a great jump on Raikkonen, although I overtook him before the white line there, so I have to actually give the position back unfortunately there. So we're back down to P4. So jumped the gun a little bit too early there because I was so eager to make the overtake. But yeah, these 2 are in worn mediums. It looked like, I think there I saw Hamilton on the softs that he, I think, was originally on, or he may have made a pit stop onto another set of soft tyres. I'm not too sure, but either way, they're all on softer compounded tyres, but may have more tyre wear than me in the coming laps. And of course, that extra safety car means 2 less laps for me to do on these hards, and that makes my life easier at the end of the Grand Prix. But here we are then on lap number 10 onto 11 there, and we're sailing past Raikkonen with overtake mode, rich mix, no DRS here, but pure slipstream. I mean, the straight's so long that you're going to make a pass anyway, no matter how powerful or underpowered your car really is, as long as you're close enough there when you start that straight. And so we're up into P3 then of this GP. Very lofty heights indeed, and there may be more positions to come as Kvyat up ahead on mediums will have to pit, but maybe we can catch him. I'm not too sure as we move through then the next phase of this GP. Here is Hamilton on board with him, the very awkward camera angle, but he comes in, and there comes Kvyat then. And so that is us going through into turn 1, up into first place of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We lead a Grand Prix once more. The last time we led 1 lap at least was the Australian Grand Prix, if you remember, 3 races ago. But now we lead another Grand Prix in a Ferrari, which is nothing to be surprised about usually, but it is surprising in the case of Season 5 here in this career mode. Second place then is Raikkonen, still yet to come in. And then you've got Lucas Weber in the Renault. He is also on mediums, so I believe he's got a pit, as well as all these cars of the Haas, the Racing Point, my teammate George Russell. And I think the next car down the line that is on the hard tyres going to the end of this Grand Prix is that silver car there in the background, Daniel Ricciardo. So all these cars going side by side, slowing each other up, they're all going to make 1 more pit stop. So I think the next car I'm racing is Ricciardo on hards, and he is so far back from me. And that is exactly the case as we move on through this Grand Prix now. We're around at lap, I would say 17, 18, and this is the gap I have now to the cars ahead. I'm still in first place. This is second place, Daniel Ricciardo. Behind him, Hulkenberg, I think one of the McLarens fighting away for P3 there. You've got also the other Racing Point close behind, and the other McLaren as well, so both McLarens doing quite well. But this is how far away I am. I'm going through this chicane, the left and right. We cut back to Ricciardo Ricciardo, and he's still not even made it through to that portion of the circuit. There he is now, finally on the straight leading up to that chicane. So we've got a good, I think about at least 15 seconds, probably more, gap to Daniel Ricciardo, all due to pitting under that first safety car for the hard tyres, not having to make a second pit stop ever again in this GP. Even through the second safety car, we just held it calm, kept it through, closed back up, overtook more people, having not made a pit stop again like a few others had to. And that strategy, essentially, pitting that early, lap number 3, that call on lap number 3, has meant that we legit, I think, have a chance somehow to win a Grand Prix this early on in the season when the car is this slow compared to everyone else. Like, my lap times aren't great. I'm doing 140s. Everyone else behind me, I think, is on the cusp of low, high 139s, creeping under that 140 lap time. But I can't break the 140 mark. The car's not fast enough. But I've got such a big gap to the cars behind me that by lap 20 now, Sergio Perez is in second place, Ricciardo is third, but I'm still miles ahead of them with 6 laps to go. They're gaining on me about 1 second or more a lap. But because the gap was so big, because I gained that much having pit under the safety car lap number 3, I am still looking pretty damn good on lap 20 of being able to lead this Grand Prix. I don't quite believe it, but I'm getting giddy now just at the thought of actually crossing the line maybe in first place here. And that excitement's only going to build, but also with some nerves here as we move through onto lap 25, the second last lap of the Grand Prix, on towards the last lap of the Grand Prix. We are still in first place. Sergio Perez is in second, chasing after us. He's now a lot closer. He's 1.7, and the nerves are settling in a little bit. You can see a little mistake there from me into turn 1 with the front left lockup, and Perez is coming at me at a rate of knots. He's got some good pace there. He obviously, his hard tyres are a lot younger than mine. We've got Lucas Weber then in third place, and the mediums and the Renault there. Ricciardo falling back, but we're just constantly just trying to keep the car as quick as we can, just willing the car through these last few corners. But here we go, onto the back straight. Perez is within 4/10 of us. I'm weaving about trying to break the toe because this is it, now or never, for us to win a Grand Prix early on in the season. We cut to the right hand side, pull across the left. Perez, what's he going to do? He's in the toe. He pulls to the right though, but he doesn't make the move there. He doesn't find the space to pull through on the right, and we're going to come across. He's going to pull through, but it's too late. We crossed the line for the win at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the slowest car on the grid. This Ferrari has been a bucking donkey compared to a horse, a stallion that's on the Ferrari badge. But we have won a Grand Prix from pitting on lap number 3 onto hards under the safety car. What a strategy call. What a race win. They're going to love that back in Maranello.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
And in the end of it, it's also a little cause for double celebration as George Russell gets his first points of the season. It's only 1 point, but it's still points. But you can see how slow I was compared to everyone else. Like, the reason I won that Grand Prix was that pit stop, the gap we had, because they were just catching me. And Perez right at the end there, I thought he might have me. I just moved my car a little inch to the right there. It kind of scared him off a little bit on that initial overtake. Then he tried again, but it was too late. We crossed the line. I think his nose was alongside my rear tyre when we crossed the line. So it was quite fine margins in the end of it. But yes, somehow we have won a Grand Prix in the first 4 races of this season, when the car, you guys have seen it in qualifying, you guys have seen it every episode, how slow it's been. You know, we've been fighting so hard every race so far, only to get like P6 or 7 or P9 in the case of Australia. But this strategy, I think, might be the best one I've ever made in this game. Probably actually for a while on the F1 games in general. If we look back at 2018, 2017, I don't remember making such a bonkers strategy work in terms of pitting that early. Like, you just think that, oh, surely the tyre's going to wear out. And also, just considering how slow the car was, pulling off some sort of grand finesse like that and winning the GP, I think that's definitely right up there in terms of memorable episodes for me of a career mode basis. So, yeah, mega stuff. That's lifted Ferrari up into P4 of the constructors. So Like I said, they're going to be very happy back in Maranello. I feel like after I finished this race, it kind of felt like almost that Alonso Malaysia win feeling. You know, a bit of a shaky start to the season, a little bit worried how slow the car's going to be, and then you get a surprise race win like that just lifts the spirits maybe and gives you a little bit of hope for the rest of the season. I think that's, you know, what I feel like it's kind of likened to from back in 2012 for Ferrari. So absolutely amazing stuff. Yeah, so at the end of this episode then, we look through the R&D points. We've got a lot of points now to spend, 1,700, just over that. I'm going to go ahead and repurchase and redo that failed minor engine power upgrade. I thought about doing some more, but in the end, I thought I'd go for some drag reduction as well, because that will also help our straight line cores. So I went for the first minor available, the cheapest minor on the aero side of things. I then looked around the aero chart. I thought, I was tempted to do another aerodynamic upgrade, but I thought, I think our aero's okay. I'm not feeling too bad in the corners, and I still want engine power. I still don't feel like we have enough. You could see there at Baku. Yes, we did have some speed in a straight line, but there were instances where off corners it didn't have enough oomph. So I go for another minor engine power upgrade. So hopefully that could set up next episode. We get 2 minors and 1 ultimate upgrade for the engine power in one go next episode of the Spanish Grand Prix. So fingers crossed none of them fails. That could be a mega massive hit to the engine power there. So guys, if you did enjoy that absolutely insane race for us here at Ferrari, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, do subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been Aarava. I'm just today. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.